working at a construction site in Texas, and it's time to clean up my Redwing work boots that I wear out on the construction site. There's a few things that that we need to be able to clean up work shoes. We need some microfiber towels. I have a small bowl of water, an empty bowl, larger bowl of water, assortment of brushes. This old toothbrush will help get some of the mud off, and some Fiebings Saddle Soap. We will condition the shoes, and I'll show you all about conditioning them after we get everything cleaned up. So I'll put all the cleaning chemicals away, break out the conditioning products, and we'll go over those once the boots dry from being cleaned. So let's go ahead and get them out. They're in plastic bags because they were dirty. I had to bring them back in my luggage, and I did brush them quite a bit before I put them in my luggage so I wouldn't get mud everywhere. So they're not super terrible. Let's go ahead and get them out. I tried to get most of the mud off on the construction site. So you can see I did a decent job getting most of the mud off before I brought them back in my luggage. First thing we'll do is unlace them. In case you're wondering, on my work boots, I really like the wedge sole. It provides really good traction whether you're on concrete, gravel, you know, mud, whatever. It's a good universal sole, and this Christie type wedge sole is very cushiony, so it's comfortable to wear these things all day. As far as the laces go, what I typically do with these, I'm not going to show it on camera because it just takes too long, but I'll take some Dawn dishwashing soap. I'll run some hot water in a dish, and I'll soak them in the dish for about an hour. Then I rinse them out in the sink, get all the soap out, and let them dry, and that gets most of the dirt that's ground into them off. Move things around here a little bit. We can see the first thing we're going to do is try to get all the rest of the mud off the shoes. So we'll focus on what we use for that. I use a Danner boot brush. Get it off the Danner website. They're about 10 bucks. It's a good firm bristle brush that won't damage your leather, and I also use an old toothbrush. So first thing we're going to do, safety glasses. I forgot I brought those. I tucked those in my boots so I wouldn't damage the safety glasses on the airplane ride home. So we'll brush the take this Danner brush and get all the mud off. And you want to try to get it off the soles as well. The cool thing about the Danner brush is it has these wooden points and sharp wooden areas, so you can get on the sole and scrape all that mud off. And again, it's pretty reasonable. It's about 10 bucks, and this thing will last you for years. So the whole reason I brought these home is I started noticing around the toe area and around the sides, the leather started to dry out, and I wanted to get these cleaned up and treated before my leather started to crack. So if you take care of Redwing shoes, they'll last you for years and years. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but dust is flying. you let these things dry quite a bit, you get most of the dirt and debris off with the brush. So you can see just what little bit of brushing that I've done so far. The boot looks much better. The construction site I'm on, it's pretty dusty. Well, here lately it's rained a little bit, but we're working in northwestern Texas, and it's pretty dusty there. And we'll start on this other one. So just so you can see what the main brushing does, makes a big difference. Just cleaning the shoe up. We'll get to the toothbrush here in just a minute once I get most of this bulk off the shoes. Again, using the edge of the brush and try to get this caked on mud off. So the Redwing boots will last a long time, and one of the reasons that they do last a long time is that they can be resoled. So after you wear the sole out on these things, you can send them back to Redwing, and for a reasonable price they'll put a brand new sole on there for you. My other pair of steel toes is actually at Redwing now, getting resoled. I took them to the Redwing store, and it's pretty reasonable. It's $120 to have them resoled. So once you have them resoled, they're tread-wise, they're like brand new boots, except you don't have to break them in again because you've already broken in the inside. So it's comfortable from day one versus taking another couple of weeks to break in. Alright, so let's clean the leather here. Still trying to get all the Texas caked in sand, mud, and dirt off of these things. Alright, I think we're in good shape there. Now we'll break out the toothbrush. So what this is used for is to clean around the welt and all the stitching, just in the smaller areas where you had a hard time getting with a larger brush. So I'll brush the stitches. That kind of brightens them up a little bit, and it gets a lot of the dust and dirt out before we actually break out the saddle soap. So I don't want all that stuff soaking into the fibers of this thread that stitches these boots together. We'll go around the welt. It's pretty difficult to get in here, and you can see some of the dust coming off. Around here in the heel, it's still pretty muddy. There's a lot of ground in dirt there. Alright, now I'll show you how that looks cleaned up. Also, you can look at the condition of these boots. The date tag in this thing is 12 of 18, so that's when they were manufactured. I can't remember exactly when I bought them. It's probably in 2019, but I clean and condition them every 6 months, so you can see the leather stays in pretty good shape working around a construction site. I will use a toothbrush on this boot. These are dry, this brush and the toothbrush are dry, so I don't want dirt to soak into my leather and So I try to get everything off as much as possible with these dry brushes first before we break out the saddle soap and start cleaning everything up. Alright, that has that finished. Alright, back with rinsed brushes. We'll set these aside, let them dry. They'll be ready to use next time. So, a few things that we talked about we need. I've got some water in this bowl. This bowl is empty. And some water in this bowl. A few microfiber rags. So we'll start, one of these is a little dirty. You'll see how to use it here in just a second. One of these microfibers I'm just going to put in this larger bowl of water so it can be wet. So I'll need that in just a few minutes. This is a shoe brush. I purchased this at Redwing and use it with my saddle soap. This is Fiebings Saddle Soap. I've used it for years. It works great. So let me show you how to use it. They make a couple different colors. This one's yellow. They make a white. They're not any difference that I'm aware of with a Fiebings Saddle Soap. If you're aware of a difference in the white and the yellow other than color, please post it below. So what we do is dip the brush in the water. Then we get a little Fiebings Saddle Soap on the brush. You can see it there. I get a little more water, and then I use this bowl to basically lather up and the saddle soap into a more of a lather, so you can see it there. Then we'll start brushing it on. So we'll start up here at the top. And there's some fabric pieces right here. I just try to clean everything if it's been exposed to the dust and dirt. Wet a little bit, get a little more soap on there, lather up. For those of you that have ever shaved and old school and whipped up your own shaving cream, it's basically the same process that you use for that. I'll just put this back in the water. Now what I do is take this, one of these microfiber cloths, and I wipe this whole boot down and wipe all this saddle soap off. Make sure and try to get all that saddle soap out of the welt area too. And now I'll show you what the boots look like after they've been cleaned with saddle soap. Starting to look pretty good, aren't they? So we'll set this one aside and we'll soap up this next shoe. Again, a little water in this. Lather up. And so and we're actually done with the saddle soap. So clean that off a little bit. Close that up. Really good stuff, and it's you can buy this on Amazon, but I typically find it at a better price at Tractor Supply, so I'll stop in Tractor Supply when I'm out and pick it up. Alright, so let's clean the all the soap off the boot. Make sure we get all the the saddle soap out of the eyelets as well. Let's make a little crease in the microfiber rag like this so I can run around the welt and get all that saddle soap out. Alright, so there's that one after it's been through the saddle soap cleaning. So the next step is rinse. Let's set this over here. So that's what this bowl of water's been here for. So, and this microfiber rag. So just kind of wring it out a little bit. And the first shoe that I clean with saddle soap, I'll wipe it down with a wet rag. And again, we'll fold the microfiber cloth in a little crease and go through and make sure we clean all the welt. Go through and clean the sole. Alright, there's that one. So rinse this off a little bit. Repeat the process on the second boot. Now what I do is just take a look at both and see if there's any other dirt, a little something that I missed, so I can get rid of that. That's it for the rinse. So I'll show you what these look like now after the rinse. Here's the second boot. Now what we'll do is let these things dry until tomorrow. We'll come back here tomorrow. I'll break out the conditioning products that we use on the construction boots. We've got some other videos out there. One conditioning leather Harley jackets. I use a different product on my construction boots than I do my Harley leather jacket. So I'll explain all that to you. If you've enjoyed watching the video so far, please consider liking and subscribing down below. It really helps grow the channel. Yesterday we cleaned the Redwing shoes and let them dry overnight, so it's conditioning time. You can see the boots after they've dried, what they look like. So you can see the leather still in good shape. There's a few things we need. I typically use Obenauf's leather oil. It's an excellent product. It's all natural and has beeswax and propolis in it. It soaks into the leather pretty quick, which you'll see. Another product I use occasionally is this Redwing boot oil. I used to use it exclusively until I learned about Obenauf's, and I really feel like this provides superior protection when you compare this versus this over the course of a handful of months, you know, in a really dry area. A few other things we need: horsehair brush. We'll use this to shine everything up, and I always keep a microfiber rag, clean my hands, wash up everything. So we'll go ahead and get started. Obenauf's, open it up. It has a little dauber, which you can see, so it makes it pretty easy to put the boot oil on. So we'll get this party started here. It goes pretty quick. I just apply it liberally to all the leather areas, and you can see, you know, it's shiny, changes color. And you can tell it's already starting to soak in. One thing to note, all these boot oils do darken your leather. So if you're using it on something that concerns you, you probably should use a different product, like Bix 4. That's typically what I use on my Western boots. I don't want the leather to darken. After a couple of weeks, they will lighten slightly from this oil treatment, but overall it is still darker than what their leather originally started as. Alright, there's the second boot finished up. We'll set it to the side. Dry my hands. Get some of this oil off. So you can see the boots. You know, this one's on the left here. It's just be your right. It has just started to soak in. You know, this one's been soaking for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes while we did this one. I typically let these things soak for about an hour. Then we'll come back and polish them with a horsehair brush, and they'll be good to go for another 6 or so months. It's been about an hour, actually a little more than that, but I'll show you the boots. You can see all the oil soaked in. Just take this rag and I do a gentle wipe off. Make sure there's no residual oil on the boot. And then I'll take the horsehair brush and polish them up. And there we go. Pair of work boots ready to go back to the construction site. And we'll repeat this process in about 6 months. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you watch this video. It really helps the channel.